Hi guys, this is Linda with LKC Creates, and I'm excited to show you some of the background behind my 31-day art challenge that I just completed on the last day of May. And it's called Mart May, and it is grocery and food themed. And it was hosted by Kit Kat Canvas, the artist. And she has on her YouTube channel a lot of clips of her participating in Peachtober, which is an October 31-day drawing challenge. And she does a really nice job of showing her art every single day and discussing the color palette she uses, as well as extra challenges she would assign herself. And I never got quite that far with this one, but she would do things like, so today she would draw a little thing, a little challenge out of a cart. And it would say, for instance, today you have to draw with a limited color palette. You can only use 2 colors. So then that presents you with an art challenge. Or something like, today you're going to draw with your non-dominant hand. As a left-handed person myself, that means I would be drawing my entire piece of art with my right hand, which I kind of want to try, but I'm telling you people, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. But so what? It is what it is. It may surprise myself. So anyway, she inspired me to do this. And there's something about making yourself stick to a schedule. Stay on this for 31 days, because every single day it was like, oh my goodness, have I posted today? What's the prompt? That kind of thing. But luckily she gave some hints that you really should get started in advance. So I knew before the challenge started what the prompts would be. And I started pre-drawing some things. And I kind of started this little square grid where I kept different drawings for different days. And then some of it would be ready to go early, and some of it I would have to work on at the last minute to finalize. So anyway, it was intense. I'm not ready to turn around tomorrow and start another 31-day challenge. I got other stuff to do, but it was a good experience. It was fun. And what I'm going to show you today is not only the whole collection, but I am going to vote on my favorites. And I'm going to show you what were my favorites and my least favorites. And I'm also going to show you what Instagram's favorites were and what their least favorites were. But that's just based on likes. And I realize that's pretty subjective because, it could have less likes just because of the time of day it appeared and who noticed it. But just for fun, I thought it would be fun to show, here were my favorites, here was Instagram's favorites, and what do we have in common? So let me get a sip of my fancy McDonald's coffee that I rewarm all day. So good. Okay, so let's go ahead and start by just looking at the whole collection. I'll tell you a few stories behind some of them, but we'll move pretty quickly through this. And so let's take a look at the collection, all 31. Okay, so the first thing you're looking at is the first 20 days of May. And each little square is a day. At the very top, I know it's teeny tiny, but it's all the prompts, all 31 prompts. And just to get an idea, we started off with salty, and I have the peanut taking a salt shower. And then creamy is the oats, sweet is the sugar and the coffee. And then number 4 was warm. So as you can imagine, there were so many different directions. If you just give me the word warm, think about it. How many warm foods are there? And this is all grocery and food themed. Sometimes I went off the edge a little bit on that, but that's kind of how I did this. I'm not going to name off every single one, but you see the s'more, that was on a day that was gooey. My chicken over there in the nest with fresh eggs was on a day of fresh. I kind of laugh at the little chart next to the hen because that was to be mild. And I thought, how do you make a drawing of mild food? So I joked the day I posted it that it looks kind of like a chart of what to eat if you've been put on a mild diet, bananas, chicken legs, saltines, hot potato, actually more like a baked potato, applesauce, just, really mild stuff. So anyway, and so if you look down there, you'll see fish, you'll see, buttery was one of the prompts, nuts was one of the prompts, fruit was one of the prompts. That's when I brought the strawberry in on the fancy drink, and pickles, among others. And so we're about to switch over to page 2. And on page 2, we've got the 21st through the 31st, so the last 10 days of the challenge. And we have things like condiments was your first one, and I took it to the ball game with my favorite condiment, yellow mustard, and put it on a corn dog. And then we had noodles, and we had breakfast, which was fun because I had already started a drawing with a lot of my favorite breakfast items. On number 24, I got kind of weird with, what was it? Liquid. So liquid, talk about all the directions you could go. So I just went kind of 2 colors and tried to do something different, which I think I succeeded in. 26, I gave a little bit of a speech about how I feel guilty about eating meat, but I do eat meat. And so I did a little game board, and on it goes. Okay, now that you've seen everything together in one document, let's go look at what I chose as my favorites. And you may agree with me, you may not, but I get to vote, and here's my vote. Okay, so now let's talk about Linda's favorites. Here's what I chose. Maybe because I love farm animals so much, I chose my hen with the fresh eggs as one of my favorites. You see the tomatoes and the lemons, those kind of, I don't know, because they look a little bit patterny. Those feel a little bit more, standard. And what I mean by that is I'm seeing a lot of them out there right now. Tomatoes are kind of popular. Lemons are kind of popular. But I just like the look of them. Like I'd love to have a note card with those designs on the front. So I kind of love it, especially the tomatoes on green gingham. And if you look down at the ice cream, there's more of my gingham kick. But one of the things I liked about the ice cream was the fluffy quality. I think I used more of a watercolor brush than I usually use. I tend to go real saturated, and I wanted to play with a few different things. Then I took my peach can up there with my flowers in it. That was supposed to be canned food day, and so I didn't put the food in it, but I did use a peach can. And then the fries were the greasiest thing I could think of for the grease day. Then we've got the buttery corn, which made me promptly go out and buy corn and have corn on the cob because I'm a very suggestible eater. And then the grocery cart full of groceries for the day red, because red, where am I going to go with that? So I just tried to fill my cart with red groceries. And that is what I picked as my favorites. Looks like I have a lot of favorites, doesn't it? Okay. So now let's look at what Instagram chose as favorites based on the likes. When it comes to Instagram's favorites, we had some things in common. If you look at the top row, both of us liked the corn with the butter, the buttery, the tomatoes and the lemons, and the flowers in the peach can. Those we had in common. The bottom row got more likes than I would have expected. It's not that I don't like the bottom row, but let me explain. So the nuts over there on the bottom left, it was kind of funny. I don't like nuts at all, and I kind of posted about that day, and I thought, what can I do with turning nuts into characters? So I took 3 different varieties and just drew faces, as you can see, and I thought it was kind of funny, but definitely to me wasn't a great example of art. Not that any of this is, but you know what I'm talking about. And then over there on the pickles, I did like that one, and I nearly picked it as one of my favorites because you know how you hear people say, tickled pink, I just thought pickled pink would be funny. And pickles have been a big thing this year, so they've been kind of fun to draw. And then they also picked the fish, which I played a weird Dr. Demento song with on the day I posted it. That's another thing, is I think the song you hear, I'm very influenced by music. And sometimes I like stuff just because I like the music behind it. That happens in movies and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, it did pretty well on Instagram, my little goofy fish wearing hats, and they're kind of silly and fun. And I do like the frame I created. I've been experimenting with frames, so I kind of like that too. So there we go. Are you ready to see my least favorites? Yep, I have them. Here we go. I decided to just pick my worst three because I didn't want to hurt any of their feelings. But here we go. These are my worst three in my humble opinion. Okay, so what did I like the least? Well, I had a problem with my s'more, even though there are parts of it I like the toasty brown part and everything. I just don't like the line in the middle dividing the two marshmallows. It just doesn't look, I don't know, there's just something about it that bothers me. And then the creamy oats, I find not enough contrast. It just feels boring and bland, even though I love oatmeal. And then the S comes from I had made that, and I told about this on post day, as a card for a friend of mine who said she wanted me to make her a birthday card when it came to her birthday, and she wanted it to be food related. So I created this charcuterie board, and there was so much food on it. I think I got overwhelmed by it, and I don't see a lot of detail. It's just shapes, and I don't know, it just got to be a lot. And then when I decided to put a border on it and change it for this project, I just didn't feel like I quite made it there. So anyway, sorry, hate picking on my work, but those are the three that I was just like, there are others I could have put there. I wasn't thrilled to death with everything, but those are my votes and I'm sticking to it. And now you get to see Instagram's least favorites. Now you'll notice that I only had 3 least favorites and Instagram has 4, I believe, but that's because there was a tie. And this is, like I said, just based on the least number of likes given. And we do agree on some and we disagree on some. So there we go. Okay, so on Instagram, which ones got the least likes? We agreed on the s'more. We definitely agreed on the s'more. We didn't agree on the other 3. The meat one didn't get a lot of likes. It might have been the lowest counted one. And I think I just liked the spinner and the idea of it. And I like the frame. I like the colors. I don't know. What do I know? But that's one that we differed on. And then the sweet, basically it's just a spoonful of sugar. And I liked the bright colors on it. And I also liked the way the sugar looks in the spoon if you get to see it up close. I just think it looked really cool. And also the mild, I kind of get it, the mild chart. How excited can you get about that? But I still kind of like the colors and the variety and the lettering and, so it is what it is. You can't ever guess what people are going to like and dislike. Some of the things that I dislike the most get lots of likes and, art is subjective. And I also learn from what people like and don't like. So this was super interesting. And that's what the pieces look like and how the votes came out. Okay, so that's a wrap for today. Now you see what it looks like to do an entire 31 days of a challenge. If that sounds like fun to you, go try it. There are lots of art challenges out there. You can find them on Instagram. If anybody needs any help finding some, I can send you suggestions. Just message me and I'll be happy to give you some ideas because there are people who post challenges every single month. And collections of challenges so that you can decide. And I will say in the future, I don't see me doing a 31-day challenge again anytime soon. I am a little bit tempted by Peachtober in October because that's my favorite month and I love drawing fall things, but we'll see about that. I may just do bits and pieces of it. But let me know if you do a fun art challenge. I was inspired by Kit Kat, so hopefully I can inspire someone to just go for it. It's really good practice, and you're going to surprise yourself here and there. So anyway, have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you soon.